I found a beautiful quote by Jane Austen in her book Sense and Sensibility. And it says, "It is not time or opportunity that determines intimacy, it's disposition alone. 7 years is insufficient to make some acquainted, and others, 7 days is more than enough." I've been reading this book called Interpersonal Communications, written by Floyd. And I got to chapter 3, and there's a section that talks about self-disclosure. Self-disclosure has many benefits, and that's what I'd like to talk to you about today. Self-disclosure benefits such as improving relationships, reciprocity, which is reciprocating, back and forth, emotional release, as well as helping others. Before we can even go into this, before we can go into detail what these are, the benefits, we need to know what self-disclosure is. Self-disclosure is the action of providing information to others that you believe to be true, and that information has to be unknown to them. So they can't know what it is, and it has to be true. Self-disclosure. I'd like to start off with enhancing relationships. Self-disclosure is a benefit in this way because it maintains the high quality of relationships that you have with trust. It improves the relationships with your friends, family, spouses. Over time, say for marriage, if you don't continue to share what's on your heart, you don't continue to talk to them about your day, or you just shut off completely, then the relationship starts to fade away. You don't have any trust, and then the relationship is gone. It's dissipated. There's nothing there. So that is a very good one. The next benefit to self-disclosure is reciprocity. Another word for reciprocity is reciprocating. Is a back and forth discussion between two individuals. So, for example, you are at a Christmas party and you bump into someone you don't even know. You introduce yourself as your name. He does the same thing. You respond by, "I've not seen you anywhere. What department do you work?" He responds, "What department do you work?" It is a consistent back and forth conversation that you have towards each other. You disclose something about you, he discloses something about himself, or herself, whoever you're talking to. Reciprocity. Our third benefit is emotional release. Emotional release is a way that individuals can express what they're feeling, get off their chest if something is bothering them. Say your best friend comes to the apartment after school, and you ask them what's going on, what's wrong, because you notice that they're feeling sad or down, and they go ahead and open themselves up to release the emotions that they've got inside. So in this case, for example, would be he didn't do so good on his midterms, and his girlfriend broke up with him all on the same day. That would make an individual sad. Boy or girl, don't care who you are. That's just sad. Anyway, that is emotional release. You're getting that emotion out of you. Instead of bottling it up, you're getting that weight off your shoulders. The last one I'd like to discuss that I take very personal and is one of my favorites and very important to those, not only to yourself but to those around you, is helping others. Self-disclosure is very beneficial by helping others when you see someone that is going through a very difficult time in their life and you have some insight for their point in time in their life to help them get along. Instead of just staying in that rut, you can come along, disclose something to them that is personal to you, that has happened to you out of experience, and they can see that and say, okay, well, if you've done it, then I can. Well, if this is what you've done to get out of this, then I can do it too. Well, I'm going to try it. An example of this would be at church. There was a couple that I know to be very peppy, happy, and cheerful. But one day they weren't, so I went up and asked them, "Hey, what's going on? Are you guys okay?" And they just mentioned that that day was the anniversary of their child passing. Well, I didn't know that. That was a self-disclosure from them to me. So they were releasing some emotion, and me in return was reciprocating back, saying, I understand how you feel. I actually just went through the similar situation. I've lost 2 boys myself. It put me in a very deep, dark place. I made bad decisions, bad choices. But if I had someone to tell me and show me and guide me and direct me in a way that I needed to not make those choices, I would have been in such a better place. And I discussed and talked to them about that, and they took that, and their mood changed, their whole thought process, and their heart. I mean, they were still feeling sad, but they just, oh, okay, so I don't have to go this path alone. I don't have to be by myself when I go through this. It's helping others in that aspect of self-disclosure. So in conclusion, there are many benefits to self-disclosure that I've discussed, like enhancing and improving relationships and trust. You have reciprocating back and forth, reciprocity, the helping others, and then the emotional release. I really hope you've learned something, and I hope you can get out there, and I challenge you to reciprocate to somebody, start a relationship, and improve that relationship with self-disclosure.